We will now open the selectmen's meeting at 5 p.m. So first up on the agenda is for us to approve and sign the ARPA Energy Audit Measures Implementation Grant. So I make a motion to enter into the ARPA Energy Audit Measures Implementation Grant Agreement with New Hampshire DES and authorize Selectman Rice to sign on the board's behalf. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Next up, is for Scott to sign the selection justification form.
And can we just correct, that's the New Hampshire drinking water, I'm sorry, it's the New Hampshire
Okay.
DES drinking water.
Oh, not the ARP. Okay, so I make a motion to enter into the New Hampshire DES Drinking Water and Groundwater Bureau grant
And
with
it's,
New Hampshire DES and authorize Selectman Rice to sign on the board's behalf.
thank you, sorry.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Next, Scott needs to sign that
Some,
consultant justification form.
and then this is gonna be, I don't know if you want to read, every page has to be dated in the show, that's like. It's a 23rd.
So if he's doing that, the consultant selection justification form just outlines that the selected consultant is Horizon Engineer and EJP. Yep, so I'll make a motion to accept and have Scott sign the consultant selection justification form.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. I'll give that another two.
Or is only document?
Yes, I him.
Great. All right, so next up, we have to approve and sign the joint meeting minutes from the July 25th.
Missed it.
We can't, you're gonna have to table those because you weren't here.
For the,
Oh,
yeah, I was here
oh,
for
wait,
the
I'm
July.
sorry.
Joint minutes.
The
yeah.
July
joint
one,
minutes,
I'm
we can
sorry.
sign.
The
Yeah,
other
I
ones
had
we
these on
can't
top.
because
Yep.
you weren't here.
Yeah,
Sorry, sorry.
I read through those last night and I did not see anything, so. I make a motion to approve the joint Board of Selectmen meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye. And so we will table the August 9th meeting minutes as it was not present.
Okay, there we go. I had mine the first on here.
I might have jumped over that one.
It's all good.
It must have been in the back of my mind that I couldn't do anything with it.
I was trying to remember too.
So, okay, next up, we have a guest here from North Country Council. We have Nick Altengal.
Altonaga. Should I like go up
Sorry.
or is this,
Wherever you're comfortable, it's fine.
so, I'm Nick Altonaga, the new transportation planner for North Country Council, the Regional Planning Commission. I'm basically here just to connect with the select board and kind of get out there and make a connection that, you know, and kind of let you guys know, you know, how we can assist the town with different projects and efforts that are going on. Especially now that, I think this year you're an official member. So there's a lot of things that a lot of our services are free with that membership and opens up a lot of opportunities. You know, we offer a variety of services, even just my efforts in transportation. You know, we handle, you know, traffic counts on local and regional roads. We collect data on culverts and roadway conditions, assist transportation providers that are active in the region, We can help set up demonstration projects if there are ideas for changing a roadway or kind of fixing things up like that. We can also assist with, helping out with maybe transportation chapters and master plans or things like that. And then, helping manage applications for some major transportation grants and things like that. Also, just generally, we can help with grant writing, research, technical assistance, GIS. We have a really good GIS person in-house now, which is finally, we have a good person for that. And I know right now we've got a big effort on housing going on, where we've been trying to be active in that. Job creation and retention. We've been active in working in the outdoor economy, hazard mitigation, and I know food. One of our plans is really big into food waste right now. And also I have type notes, but also I can also assist with floodplain management because I'm certified in that. I've been trying to shift that around as well.
Would you be an asset if we have questions, like for building permits and things like that?
Yes, yeah, my coworker, Kayla, she's been big into helping out some planning boards and zoning commissions for that. So she's been sifting through all the RSAs and kind of helping where she can. So that is definitely on the table. I've got some, I was given big printouts from my executive director, Michelle, to give to everyone. So I've got some folders with that, just some extra information on our programs and things, but I mean, we've got a lot to offer, I think, especially, right now we've got, we just signed the agreement with an on-call engineering firm, HED, to help us both with the 10-year plan process that's going on right now for those projects, but also just general engineering support. So that's kind of a big thing if you guys have, a road project or something that needs some design work, they can do some conceptual design and some of that beginning work to get those forward, especially if there's maybe a grant you want to apply to, that you need that for backup. That's a kind of, we see that as a really good thing right now. But overall, that's kind of, I'm super busy right now, 10-year plan. We've got some data collection activities throughout the region. We've been working with some of the other local communities in the region about some on-call engineering projects for traffic safety and, downtown kind of intersection improvement, just to try and do things like that. I know Lisbon has been interested in that, Stratford way up there. And so we've got some things going on, a lot of irons in the fire, as well as traffic counts. So if there's any traffic counts you guys need, we can do that as well.
What's the time frame on traffic counts? Like if we wanted something to be,
Our season will be done most likely by the end of October.
okay,
It really just matters when the snow starts.
okay,
Because we do have radar counters, but those are a little bit more finicky to set up
yeah,
and do. But generally, we're done with the road tubes by the end of October.
okay. And you wouldn't put them out until April or May?
Yeah, generally the season starts April or beginning of May, usually. So
And how much like lead time do you typically need if we were to request something like that?
I think last week someone had requested, so we put those on. We have some down in Haverhill. They requested some, so we'll add those. We're down there, we'll add them. So a week or two, we've been doing some. Next couple weeks will be kind of local, down at Haverhill or Franconia, Sugar Hill, this Grafton County, so it's a little easier to get to than going over to Carroll,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
Carroll County is a whole bear of an issue, but yeah.
Now, are yours the ones that are down on 175? Down in Lower Woodstock?
Are they? I think we picked those up last week.
Okay,
So yeah, we did have some.
you did, okay. And is that information available on your website, or is it something like we need to request?
That is, once we collect it and clean it up and send it to DOT, that's,
Yeah.
they put it on a state database website,
Okay.
like a GIS database, so.
Okay.
We can pull that for you, those counts directly or send you the resources.
Okay. Great.
But yeah, overall, that's kind of what I'm here for, just to get the word out and, I think I brought some extra business cards and stuff if you guys want them, but,
No, is somebody in your office also working on like some of the energy stuff with the state and the energy management plan?
I've been aware of that. I don't know if we're working directly, but I think one of our people is.
So, okay, so there's some resources with that as well.
Yeah.
Any
No,
other questions?
that's great. Sounds like a good resource.
Yeah, instead of waiting till public comment session, if anybody has any comments for Nick or questions for Nick, we'll certainly open it up to the floor right now. That way there, he doesn't have to stay for the whole meeting if he doesn't.
I live, you know, right downtown.
Yeah.
What is the North Country? Where is your law?
So we go basically from Groton. It's northern Grafton, northern Carroll, and then up in space. Yeah. So 50 communities, big area. But
Thank you.
Mike, go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Sure can, thank you.
When you started, Nick, you said something about a culvert program. You could help the town inventory or so forth. Could you explain that a little bit for us?
of course, yeah, there's a state resource called SADES, State Asset Data Management, basically. They've got some programs that we have been trained on and have used in the past that we can inventory culverts. We collect, you know, it's kind of a standard uniform data set. And so we'll look at the status of them, the kind of build quality. It helps, you can kind of map out the directions of each culvert. And so that's, you know, available to you. I believe there's also a forecasting tool attached to that. So if there were improvements or things like that, I think that is also in there. But yeah, that's one of the things we can do that as kind of a special project, because it's sometimes they're a bit involved to do all the culverts in the community, but yes.
Is that something that they requested? Is there a charge for that, or is that just a service you provide?
Usually, I think the first time around, traditionally we haven't had a fee charge or a match, but I believe it would at most be 10% match for the whole project. So, you know, I think for single communities, we usually do them for watersheds.
Yeah.
So we've had state, you know, partnerships where we kind of work together on it, but it would be a little new to do a culvert, you know, town to town, but we can talk about that, you know, a scope of work and that if it comes to it. So
Now that the town's joined this, the planning board also has access to your services?
Yes, the full town does.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yep,
welcome.
thanks for your question. Okay. Anything else? No? Great. Well, thank you for coming in today. We appreciate it. And we'll certainly be in touch.
You got it. I'll leave the folders I've got.
Yeah, that'd be great. We should pull a few of those aside for the planning one.
Yeah.
The reports or the folders that he's gonna give us. If we need more, I'll just reach out.
You
If
got
that
it.
sounds good. Okay,
That is all good.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Charlie, I saw you. Charlie, are you? Yep. No. Release. If you want to hold on to these two, the planning board. Want Ross, you want to put the planning board?
Yeah, I'll put one in their box.
Great. Thank you. Thanks again, Nick. Safe travels. Okay. So next up, we have Bill Waterhouse with some questions regarding the outdoor dining and public vendors ordinance. Go ahead, Bill.
Thank you. I asked for this slot just in case the letter from the attorney, the consideration from 2 or 3 meetings ago.
Yep.
Did that arrive? Is that?
So we had a face-to-face meeting with the attorney to go over some stuff on Friday in a non-public session. And we reviewed these ordinances with her as well in that meeting. And so she is working on drafting up revised ordinances that are kind of a little more modern and address any of the conflicts that have been raised in the last month that you brought forth. So she could not have anything turned around for today's meeting, but she's hoping to have something here in the next couple of weeks. Okay.
I'd like, as long as I am on, just to make a couple of comments. Number one, I know if it was behind closed doors or non-public session, that's fine. But are the two ordinances going to be combined, the public vendor and the use of public streets and sidewalks? It looks like the original was the public vendors, and then it went to use of public streets and sidewalks in 1996. They were both, one was amended and one was effective on.
Yeah. So the public, a part of the public vendors ordinance is going to be added to the use of public streets and sidewalks ordinance. So they'll be combined, and then one would be hired, or however it is. And then the same with vehicle parking and street parking, where there were similarities and conflicts in those two will be merged together into one, addressing all of the issues and concerns that have been brought forth.
Now, on that same topic, with regard to the streets, I was in error when I spoke of the street as being a right of way. And there are three surveys on file at the Registry of Deeds, and it is not a right of way, it is a town street. So therefore, the discussion was whether the property line was within the right of way or whether the right of way was private property. And looking at the three surveys, each of the three surveys has corners either pinned or calculated. And the portion of School Street beyond that in question, the street is laid out. And the legal descriptions for a couple of those properties say when you get to that, the description is a long School Street, indicating that School Street is an entity unto itself rather than a shared piece of property. And to make certain of that, I called CAI Tech, which are the tax map folks, and I asked how valuable they are as a tool with their dimension distances measurement that you can use on your own. The fellow was wonderful. And the distances and measurements are accurate. And what was also interesting is that the distances and measurements on there are, there are indications whether they were actually made off of surveys or deeds. There's a little code in there, if not, and it is for calculated. In other words, a calculated point. And the same with acreage of the property, the perimeter. If it's from a deed, it's indicated. If something is missing, and it needed to be calculated, then that is indicated. Everything on School Street is surveyed and calculated. And I asked him about town roads. He said, well, you should. He said, most towns have a database or a list of all their roads. And the dimensions of them. And when I inquired, I received no response on that. So I didn't know if that was the case. When I made the statement that it was a 24-foot right of way or a 24-foot road.
You requested that in a meeting or in an email?
I asked if there was such a document.
We'll have to look at that. We'll jot it down and.
No,
see if
that's
there's such a
okay.
document.
I got the information
Not that we're aware.
now. So part of my dilemma is that the board, I'm not sure why this is a topic that it is. All the board has to do is provide written consent that it's okay to do this. Right.
And then we're working on modifying the ordinances, and there's implied consent because of the water and sewer acceptance fees.
Well, in my defense, I'll just shut up. I'm not on board right now. We had no ideas about. We've gone the same way with Bill Mel and everything else, all along. Where the lines are and so forth. But as far as permission goes, we first got permission from the town to the liquor commission to ask if we could serve liquor. So a letter from the town went to the liquor commission saying it was okay. Then the fire department came and gave an oxygen permit for that area. And then after that, I paid $8,000 in water and sewer tap fees to the town that was accepted. That's
So it is town property.
I think we don't know any of this, so we're gonna have to look at what you said.
We'll take what you. Lord, yeah, the attorney's looking at all this. She took the file with her.
I don't think it has to get to the legal. I'm sorry, I'm
Sorry,
not
yeah.
being clear with my question. On one of the surveys, if you stand and you look at the picket fence, one of the survey is not just numbers and degrees, it has physical items on it. And there is a specific fence that is the line of the road of School Street. And if you stand out on the sidewalk, you can see that. But again, my point is, I don't understand the hesitation of the board to simply write a document and make a statement to the town's people that even a portion of this is on the town's property, that we are giving you written consent to go ahead with what you're doing.
I think we need to definitely figure it out, Bill. Right. We're gonna do that. I want it clear
We're showing
too.
it- Right, we're showing it differently, obviously, that it's within the right of way, so.
But a right of way, if you take the meets and bounds of the measurements and the directions on the 3 surveys that are laid, and then you line them up with the road, they go to the road. I have one of the surveys here. It's small, but there is no road surface. There is no School Street under the property, or does any of the properties reach out onto School Street?
Yeah, we're gonna have to look at this further. We know Mike paves School Street. Scott paves up to School Street.
It's
So what we thought, you know what I'm saying?
Right, based off of what has been 30 years or better. So we're just gonna have to dig into it deeper and further to really iron it out.
It's
What
pretty
you think?
simple. Either the numbers at the registry of deeds, you can pull it up and you can look on your computer. I don't understand why it takes so long. People pay lawyers to draw up the meets and bounds of these properties. And then 3 or the same surveyor was paid 3 times to set those out there. Those are the distances that show up on our tax map. Thank you.
Nope, thank you. All right, up next, we have Mr. Wishart, Charlie. Regarding your question on the tricycle. Right, do you have anything else that you wanted to add? We met with the attorney on Friday, we discussed the situation, because she had advised us to talk with the insurance company. And while we're terribly sorry something happened to your tricycle this winter, that damage, it's just not responsibility of the town, it was in the town's right away.
Was not, and made that point perfectly clear. That he took equipment. Well, so much equipment. It was never on the until
You can have the insurance company, Primex will be sending you a letter, the town's insurance company, and you're welcome to write back to them or hash it out with them. They're the ones that have advised us as with town council that the town is not liable. So apologies.
senior time.
Okay, thank you, Trev. Next up, we have, did you get the couple that are signed on in the conference? We received, an email, from Legundis,
Judas from the-
that they requested that the selectmen read into the minutes and be placed in the property file so that there's a record of it. So this email was sent on Monday, July 25th. And the subject goes as follows. On July 20th, 2022, around 3 p.m., there was a blast from the Woodstock sand and gravel pit, 1/4 to 1/2 mile from us. We felt our house, which is a cement block building, shake. This was very disturbing. We do have a few cracks around that we didn't notice before. We were given notice of the blasting, but from a range between 7:13 and 7:22. Hours of blasting may occur between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. That is a broad span of time. My husband called, Rex Calder, and vented out to him. My husband is 82 years old and I will be 79 in September. This is supposed to be a nice, quiet town. We do not like having this type of disruption. We reported it to the Woodstock Police Department and also spoke to Judy on Thursday with a complaint. Judy suggested that we put it in writing. My husband, Angelo John, and our family has owned the Meadow Lark Motorport for more than 70 years. I, Lorraine Chasen Legudis, is a native born and brought up here. We believe this is not okay. Signed, Lorraine. Okay. We have that in a minute. Okay, thank you. So next up, we have the Primex Contribution Assurance Program for 2023 through 2025. It is the Property and Liability Program. So I would make a motion for us to sign.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
And I just
Aye.
need Cheryl on this.
Okay, and then we have the resolution to enter Primex Property and Liability Contribution Assurance Program. Resolved to hereby accept the offer of the New Hampshire Public Risk Management Exchange Primex to enter into its Property and Liability Contribution Assurance Program, CAP. As of the date of the adoption of this resolution and to be contractually bound to all of the terms and conditions of Primex Risk Management Pool membership during the term of the Property and Liability Contribution Assurance Program, CAP. Excuse me. The coverage provided by Primex in each year of membership shall be as then set forth in the coverage documents of Primex. I attest that the foregoing is a true copy of the resolution of the governing board of the town of Woodstock adopted on August 23rd, 2022. So that is a motion to accept the resolution.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. So next up, we have the draft report and recommittal warrant and tax. On the tax collector. So, this was drafted after, Melissa's departure as the tax collector. And this is in order for Cheryl to take over, Cheryl Barassa to take over the books.
Yeah, this is the reconciliation of Melissa's books.
Right. So, motion to approve a draft of the auditor's report of the reconciliation of the final MS 61 forms for tax collector Melissa Sabler.
Motion. Second. I'll make a
I
motion.
made the motion.
All right, I'll
You
second.
second. All those in favor, aye. And then we also need a motion to accept and sign the recommittal warrant as prepared by the town auditors for both the property taxes and the water sewer fees. Do you want two separate motions for that? Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept and sign the recommittal warrant as prepared by the town auditors for the property taxes.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye. And then, motion to accept and sign the recommittal warrant as prepared by the town auditors for the water and sewer fees. Made that motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those in favor?
Oh,
Thank you. All right. And then, oh, we do? Oh, my bad. We must have got the off. Sorry. All right, so, because we don't see any foreseeable, needs to have the 9 AM meetings, with vendors, because we've kind of buttoned up some of those contracts, we are gonna move our meetings back to 5 o'clock on the every other Tuesday. So, I make a motion to accept the revised selectmen's meetings, back to every other Tuesday at 5 PM.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
People didn't enjoy it, including me. So,
So now we will open up the floor to any of the items, for public participation, on any of the items that were on this evening's agenda. Yes, Mark.
Couple questions. As far as the ordinances, are all of our town ordinances on the website listed under ordinances?
Yes, they should be.
Okay.
Yes, if you find that there's one missing, please let us know, but that's,
Yeah.
they're supposed to be.
As far as Bill's issue, I was at the last meeting and didn't really understand what was going on. And the day after, I had heard about it and I drove down School Street. And I was in my son's pickup. It's a small pickup. And I literally met a small SUV coming in off Main Street right there. This issue stinks of high heaven. I can't believe this town is spending this much time and effort on this. And I just driving through there with a small car, can't believe that this was allowed and is still going on. I'm disgusted. It's terrible. It seems like it's been going on for a while.
Well, prior to it being seating there, it was always parking
30 years.
for 30 years. So it's not, I mean, it's not something we just waved our wand and made it happen. But we'll certainly,
Do we have parking along every town
there
road,
was parking there
just within the right of way?
within where the boundary, those white lines are.
Marcus, I did talk to Mike the other day, and we're gonna move it in a foot and a half.
That it's
The whole
tight,
thing.
Scott. I'm not.
No, I
trying to
think,
be-
no, and again,
It's just-
I'm off the point here for a minute. I think
Yeah.
one thing you find there is that, there's so many people waiting to get on the patio. That's the main entrance to the outside. The main entrance to the stations on the other side. Nobody uses the front door anymore. The parking's across the street. So you've got 1,500 people a day using the patio entrance and the station entrance. There's a lot of people there. You got all the deliveries, trucks in the street. You've got all the people stopping to let the people out to get into the restaurant, you know, because they can't walk from Main Street or wherever they're gonna park. So you got 1 million people stopping there and people off, but that we did talk to Mike, they were gonna move it in a foot and a half. Just to make it better. But it has been parking spots since I bought the M 40 years ago.
I'm surprised I never hit one of those cars leaving that place.
No, anyway, I mean, it's, life's about compromise, you know.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment, any other comments on, the agenda items this evening? Yes, Bill.
I just want to say this isn't Bill's issue. This is an issue, and it's not an issue. 30 years is a short amount of time if you go back in the registry of deeds and you take a look at what was there and the definition and the legal descriptions. So 30 years and maybe a nudging and that unfortunate word compromise. At some point, you have to go back to what was and therefore what should be. I sat in the meeting here, and it's on record, said that the white lines were there, and rather than knowing where the property line was, the lines were put there, and the business owner was told not to exceed those. I said at the meeting, I measured the distance between the white lines, and I believe it was just over 19 feet. That's not, I'm not a road person.
I think if you look at the subdivision regulations, Bill, the standard road in the subdivision is 18 feet paved. And
Russell Farms 18.
a major road is 20 feet. As a major road, and I would consider School Street with all the business we have on that major road. And I think it needs to be 20 feet paved, and that's what I'm gonna do with that.
The survey says it's 24 feet.
The right of way. It's not 20, it's not paved 24 feet though. It was paved 18 feet, all the pavement on both sides. I paved.
I think if you look at the survey, you will see that that is not a right of way.
Anyway,
We'll dig
find
into
that
that
out.
further. Thank you.
And one other comment. Patrick was at the last meeting emphasizing the focus on the community of the town of Woodstock. And there seems to be compromise and a bit of bias towards one portion of this community.
Point noted. Thank you. Any other questions? Well, at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 5:39.
I'll second and third that motion.
Make a motion.
I'll make the motion to adjourn. Yeah,
All right, I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
that's everything.